Hello, everybody, and welcome to the first episode of Trailer Trash.
My name is Gerry.
This is Gerry. I'm Will. Welcome to this show. We're going to be talking about trailers that come out and movies as they come out. We're going to be talking about Avengers Age of Ultron. We recently saw it. Was it a good or bad movie? I'll let you go first.
My simple answer is it was good.
Okay, I agree. I think it was a good movie. Now, was it a great movie?
No.
You don't think so?
I don't think so.
Why wouldn't you classify it as great?
I have to go back to my opinion on the first Avengers.
Okay.
As a fan of superheroes and comic books and all that, it was exciting to see all these characters on the big screen for like the first time and all that. There was a lot of hype about that. I think that even in the movie, in this second one actually, there's some moments. This is spoiler free, right? There's things about the movie in regards to like maybe editing, right? They're kind of having these moments where if you're a fan of this stuff, it's like, hey, look, this is for you, this is for you to see what you might have always wanted to see, and here it is.
Yeah.
In my opinion, very superficial, but it's a legitimate category.
There you go.
In comic book movies where there is going to be a lot of superficiality that counts as it being good. The way it looks, the kind of stuff they say that's not necessarily very deep, but it sounds cool. And just little character moments where, okay, so these two movies are full of that stuff, And it's awesome to see that as a fan. When I said my simple answer is yes, it's a good movie, to add to that, these are great comic book movies that are very well organized in a certain way. They never stray far at all from like the path they're set on, which is this is going to be like the comic book brought to life without taking it too seriously either.
I agree with you. I liked Age of Ultron. I enjoyed the ride that it was. Is it a great movie? I don't think it is in comparison to the first movie, and I'm glad that you brought it up. I think the thing that separates Age of Ultron from the first Avengers is that we had the Phase 1 buildup. Mm-hmm. I think everybody was so excited about the steam engine that was the Marvel MCU that has now become a bullet train, essentially, of just pulling out all the stops and just delivering high-quality superhero movies, unlike some studios that we'll get into. I liked it. As a standalone movie, coming from Avengers into Avengers Age of Ultron, there is growth. The teamwork, the cohesion that shows that these guys have been at it for a bit. And I think what I enjoyed the most about it is Joss Whedon. Every scene has some touch of Whedon in it, from the one-liners that are fantastic and run rampant through the movie, onto the somber, sincere, and just quieter moments, and even some of the more creepy moments, like when we first see the Scarlet Witch. There's some creepiness to her, and I don't know if you remember that when there was like a lot of stutter stepping. Mm-hmm. And I like the use of stutter stepping when you're creating a villain that has a creepy factor to her, and she does a little bit just because of what her power entails. Now, talking about the Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver, how do you feel they were interpreted?
All right, so anyone who's seen X-Men Days of Future Past already knows that Quicksilver has been used in a movie already, and so this interpretation is obviously a different take, a different character. It's not the same Quicksilver. I think that they helped serve the story well as that sort of bridge, holding us by the hand almost as to what's happening between Ultron and the heroes. I don't think it's any secret that in most incarnations or what have you, Quicksilver's not necessarily classified as purely a villain or whatever. I like it when characters that we might already know very well, whether they're supposed to be heroes or supposed to be villains, but you see them in a movie and the director or the writers or both are trying to take you through this journey of this is just a character. You can kind of pick up on what they eventually become, matching what we already know from the stories. Here's a quick example of what I mean by that.
Yeah.
So in Nolan's Batman movies, Batman has like one vehicle per movie.
Right.
He doesn't even have his Batmobile is not even around for the entire second film. The Bat-Pod is not even around for most of the third film either. We were presented with Batman's different like arsenal of vehicles, but on screen it wasn't so like, you know, cookie cutter black and white. Like, okay, so he just has a bunch of like gadgets that it's like there's a reason for it. It kind of goes along. And the same thing with the Batcave. Like there's like one movie where he has a proper Batcave out of all three. Man, I would have loved to see more of that, but at the same time it's kind of cool if you're willing to go along for that specific ride. So that's how I felt about Quicksilver and what's her name in this movie.
Touching on your Christopher Nolan Batman, I would have loved to have seen more of what makes Batman the greatest detective.
Yeah.
And I think that's the only quip I have, not counting the third movie, with Nolan's Batverse, is that I wanted more of the detective.
They did a little bit of that in the second one, and, you know, a little bit of it too. Well, a little bit in all three, but you only see it the way you'd expect it for like a few scenes in the second movie.
Coming back to Avengers, I liked the nod to the Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver's bad past when they were you know, notoriously just known as Magneto's children, and they were part of the Brotherhood of Evil. So I like that little nod in the beginning where they're bad guys, then they become good guys, because they do become Avengers. I would have liked to have seen a little more of Falcon, a little more of War Machine, and I think there was enough Vision, maybe just a teacup more of Vision. I was hoping there would be more Avengers this time out. I think that given the Winter Soldier tie-in to Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., this season of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. didn't build up to Age of Ultron like how Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 1 built out of Winter Soldier. You don't watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. So for me, that was a little bit of a letdown. If anybody watches Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and you want to talk about it, please do. Comparing it to the first movie, they're both fantastic films. They're both filled with every inch Joss Whedon has put into it. Take that as you will. I think that it is a good movie. It is not a great movie given everything that's come before it.
Yeah.
But as itself, it is a great movie.
Yeah.
I still think Guardians of the Galaxy is the best thing movie-wise that Marvel has right now, but as far as any intellectual property that's being produced right now, Daredevil. And I'm going to go back to Daredevil. And I know you must be sick and tired of hearing me go on about Daredevil.
That's fine.
I also talked about Daredevil when we saw the Batman 5 Superman trailer. I believe I talked about Daredevil. And don't roll your eyes at me, because that little V is a Roman numeral 5, so I will refer to it as Batman 5 Superman.
Alrighty.
Now, by the time you see this will be old news, but this just came out yesterday, and we're having very big fanboy moments. Gerry, who you may or may not know is a huge Superman fan, is fanboying more over the Batman 5 Superman trailer.
Yeah, the leaked one, and it's not official yet, but I saw it.
You saw it?
I saw it, and it's pretty incredible, I think.
I am still holding reservations over the Superman 5 Batman Justice League movie, only because I feel that as a fanboy of DC, they could have done so much more than just go from one Superman movie into a quote-unquote sequel for the character who has to share the screen with 18 other superheroes at the same time. I feel don't sell it to me as a Superman sequel, but just sell it to me as a Justice League movie, and I'll hate it less, but I still hate it.
I kind of agree with you. I'm still reserved for pretty much the same reason, but at the same time, you know, it is what it is, and it's pretty awesome.
I will say I like the Batfleck little growl that he doesn't have the Christian Bale like, but he's got that little raspiness.
Yeah, and I think it sounds like it's like a voice changer effect, which I think is also in a cool and also practical way. It makes sense, and I like it.
There is no visualization of any of the other heroes. So how do you feel about that?
In Star Wars?
In Batman.
Oh, in Batman. You son
His
of.
name's first, bro.
I know. I'm okay with that because I feel the same way about it that you do, which is that for a Superman sequel, to go straight into all this like cluttered, thing with like Wonder Woman being announced, and then I'm pretty sure they're talking about like even at least a cameo of like Aquaman or something like that. I feel that for the trailer to be focusing on a lot of, it's very Superman centric, even though Batman's there, but it's the theme of it all is very much what's going on because of Superman being in the world, and I personally like that. And I'm okay with not seeing any of the other characters.
Do you think it is wise for Warner Brothers to just jump into the Superman Batman bromance right off the bat, or would you have rather have seen it build up over a series of movies?
I personally would have rather had seen like proper solo Superman sequels, and somehow even if there would have been some sort of build up where there's like Batman's included little by little or whatever, but at the same time, like I said, it is what it is, and I can see why they would do this. You know what I mean? Even though if it's good, it's good, and let's hope it's good.
I don't think it's going to be good, but that's just me. I would have preferred them taking a page out of the Marvel book. What they do is instead of creating the Justice League movie, you introduce Batman again, but you introduce the Terry McGinnis Batman. You introduce the Batman Beyond, so you establish that DC has a future in the world itself, and then you give us an older Batman, maybe bring back Christian Bale, give us an older Batman, show the collection of suits, like the Wonder Woman outfit, the Superman outfit, have him in a little display, like in reverence to the Justice League, and then just have Terry McGinnis be like, what is this? What happened? And then you create what I like to call a linchpin. You create the Justice League movie without creating the Justice League movie. That's what the mistake that I think DC has made, and that's why I like Marvel movies better. Daredevil just came out, and I saw it over the span of 2 days. I loved it. I loved everything about Daredevil. Things we didn't like about the Avengers Age of Ultron, and I've touched on this a little bit. What didn't you like?
We've come to expect a lot of CGI in most things. And for some reason, people get really like on the case of certain movies for using too much CGI. And then another case is just like, well, I guess there's no way around it. Something like the Hulk. I mean, how else are you going to do it? I accept it. It looks pretty good. The use of CGI to present Ultron, I don't know. Felt it could have looked better.
Really? I'm the opposite. I think, and I might just be a fan of James Spader, but anytime that he was talking, I just lost.
Oh, no. I
lost the robot, and I was in tune with what he was saying. Like, his lip movement was beautifully animated.
I think that I was referring specifically just to the look. No, James Spader did great. The characterization of Ultron from the beginning, where he's not your typical goofy villain, but there's a little bit of that in there, only because it's like the personality. There's a personality that's coming out, where there's like a legitimate like sort of insanity. Why don't you go ahead and say something you like?
Okay. I liked the more humanistic look of the Hulk in this movie. I don't know if they got Mark Ruffalo to just walk around on stilts. They had an eye level, or if they just used a tennis ball and a stick. Like, he was part of the scenes whenever he was the Hulk, just because of how much attention to detail. It's very human. Mm-hmm. So it showed me a piece of the fact that Bruce Banner lives in the Hulk for me. But I agree. I think some movies might take a CGI bat to everything. Mm-hmm. And in some movies, you're going to come to expect that. Like, you need CGI in Jurassic World. Mm-hmm. And this is going to be a point of contention because I like the original Jurassic Park with its practical effects, with its animatronics. We talked about the whole Triceratops breathing and how it lifted him up, and you didn't have to act out like, oh, this is breathing, mm-hmm. and make sure that you have the kinetic awareness of where your hands are. Did it go overboard? For me, I think it filled the cup.
I think part of the reason why it's like you don't even think about it, and it's not a big deal. What Marvel's doing right now, which is very satisfying in the sense that we're getting, as fast as we can get them, these movies that feel similar to what it might be like to wait for the next issue of your favorite comic to come out for the first time ever. In the past, it's been like, okay, well, whenever it comes up, it's exciting, whatever. But now we know They're doing it. It's really happening. We've got these characters together. They're making, all these movies. We know there's going to be another one of these. We know we're getting all these solo hero movies and all that stuff. And it's like, cool, that's great. But there's a price to pay, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're coming at us like, out of a conveyor belt. And we're lucky that, for example, Joss Whedon, he knows what he's doing, and he's able to make a great movie for us, for this kind of world, especially given the time frame. They're putting all the right pieces together so that it is at least good. And there's a sense of like cookie cutterness there. For me, it's like a textbook example of how to make the best possible Marvel Avengers movie that's going to feel like the comic books, that's going to please fans, and that's going to come at us, as soon as possible.
Given this this commentary, I think you're gonna really love Daredevil then, because Daredevil goes back to the practical. There is no CGI, or if there is CGI, it's so minimal that it's nuanced. You brought up the imagery of putting puzzle pieces together. That's how I felt when I saw the Star Wars trailer. We saw a little bit more of the guy with the lightsaber, the three-pronged lightsaber that still bothers me.
May I ask why?
I don't like the design. I'm a very big traditionalist. Having played the tabletop RPG of Star Wars back in its original incarnation with West End Gaming and its D6 format, and playing through to the WotC years of garbage that it became, which was just D&D in space, there's always been a reverence to creating a lightsaber, and a lightsaber that has those little prongs on the side, aesthetically, it doesn't please me whatsoever. Like when they hand off Luke's lightsaber, that excited me, because I was like, that's an icon of my childhood, and that lightsaber for me is what it is to be a lightsaber. It is what it is to make a lightsaber as a Jedi.
Did you feel similarly about like Darth Maul's lightsaber back in Phantom Menace?
I enjoyed Darth Maul's lightsaber staff only because having read the comic books, having read the Tales of the Jedi comic books, Exar Kun's lightsaber staff was always something that looked really pimp, really encapsulated what it meant to be a Sith. But it was a lot smaller. It was like maybe the size of the thin black mic. Darth Maul's was a redesign, so he made it plausible to be used as a lightsaber or as two different lightsabers. Whereas Exar Kun had the one crystal flowing back and forth, Darth Maul had two crystals at either end, which is just a huge nail in the coffin of my nerddom.
I know what you're talking about.
Gerry has played D&D with me, so he's a little bit of a nerd with me, but I would be the grandmaster nerd in this group.
Mm-hmm.
The Star Wars trailer just had everything coming back together: the music, the sense of adventure. There is heroism permeating almost all the scenes, and you know that has to be Luke in the black hood touching R2, or the R2 astromech droid. Things that we liked about the Avengers Age of Ultron, given the movie by itself or given the universe, the MCU as a whole.
The whole movie felt almost like a bunch of stuff that people probably want to see, but it was done well, and it's what makes it such a good comic book movie. You got moments where Iron Man's doing his typical thing. For example, Tony Stark's humor and his sarcasm and his whole shtick really was there. It was the same, but it was like a level up. His interactions with Captain America, that whole contrast between the good boy and the whatever, that's cool, and it's all there without feeling forced and without feeling like whoever wrote those lines didn't know what the hell they were doing. Like it feels good.
You hit the nail on the head when you said that these movies are becoming our new comic books.
Yeah.
When I was in high school, I collected comic books. Now I'm collecting these movies. This is a comic book brought to life, and from beginning to end, you get the page turned, splash page of them, and it does start off with a bang. It starts off hitting the ground running. It never feels like it's being sappy to be sappy. You're getting a lot of growth out of these characters.
I agree with you, but there was a little bit of that. Like, for example, with what's this called? Rim shot? No, I'm just kidding. Hawkeye.
Rim shot.
There's a few things going on with Hawkeye that I felt like, man, that's so like overdone right now with the whole, I'm not gonna spoil it.
Don't spoil anything.
But there's a few sappy to be sappy moments for my taste when it comes to Hawkeye.
But that's another thing. We needed to see a more human background from characters like Romanoff, like Barton. We didn't really covered his bases as far as giving us people we needed to see and people getting a little bit more of their growth.
Blah blah blah.
The interaction between Bruce Banner and Tony Stark is always fantastic. They're just two nerds who want to do science.
That was there's two big moments in the whole movie where there's just Tony and Bruce. And that was basically my favorite of the entire movie, was them doing their thing together.
Thor felt like the odd man out this time.
Yeah.
Thor had nobody to really play off of. And the more I think about it, the more I wonder if this was done intentionally to build up more interest for Ragnarok, which is coming out, or if it was just one of those things where that's just how the dice fell. But they all come to the same conclusion at the same time, which is very comic booky. It's also a little bit of Joss Whedon, like knowing the source material, knowing what makes a good movie a good movie. Whedon is known for his character interactions. Closing thoughts on the Avengers: Age of Ultron.
I can't really let go of this whole, like, these movies becoming the new evolution, from comic books for whoever, whether it be younger, like kids, or people more our age. It's just another medium, that has really started now to take off in the same way as actual comic books. And I think that when you see it that way, and you also say, well, this is not a bad movie, this is entertaining, it does justice to the source material, and I think it's cool and all that stuff. So I say, good job, Joss Whedon, good job, Marvel, and let's keep going.
I only own 3 Blu-rays, which are the best comic book movies I've seen so far. The first Avengers, Nolan's The Dark Knight, which is, I think, the Empire Strikes Back of that trilogy, of any trilogy, really, and Guardians of the Galaxy. So, am I going to add Age of Ultron to my Blu-ray collection? Possibly. One of the things that I would like to discuss in the comments below is, do you think comic book movies are phasing out the comic book as what it stands for? And is that something you'd like to see or not like to see? So let's get into a discussion about that. Would you endorse watching Age of Ultron in the theaters, or is this a movie that you can wait to watch at home?
If you're gonna watch it in theaters.
I agree. I think go check it out. Let us know what you think about it. If you enjoyed our talk on Age of Ultron, leave a like. Subscribe to the channel.
I hope you all have a great day.
The next time the garbage truck comes around or whatnot, something.
Oh, because trailer trash?
Trailer trash.
Okay.
Taking out the trash.
I don't know, man. You're taking out the trash. We're always here to help you take out the trash. And as Will likes to say, we'll always be here to take you... Wait, what?
No.